pulling us up here really quickly on YouTube so I can see. How is everyone? Okay, where are we? Where are we? Where are we? It has been a day. I tell you what. Do you ever have that? Yes, it's been a day. Lots of days. All right, I think we're just about here. I think we are ready. I have earned a glass of wine later tonight. I'm telling you right now. I have. Okay, hang on. Oh, here we go. Yes, we're here. Hi, guys. Hello, hello. Let me have a quick drink of water. Mm-mm-mm. Carrie Evans, I see that you've been in Park City vacationing. I grew up there. I went to high school in Park City. That's kind of crazy. I hope you're enjoying. I hope you're enjoying your trip. I will tell you guys, I have on wool socks and jeans and a long sleeve like sweatshirt. We have had like unseasonably cold weather. The low today was 43 and the high was 69, but I don't know, it felt like a lot colder in the house. I didn't leave the house. Yeah. So, Carrie, you experienced cold weather in Park City. Actually, oh, this is weird. We were up there last night with some friends. Wouldn't that have been weird? That if we'd run into each other on the street, that would have been crazy. I would have been like, hi. I would have been like, do I know you? That's fun. Anyhow, all right, you guys, welcome, welcome. Let's see who we have here. Well, actually, let me back up. Welcome to you. If we haven't met before, my name is Lael Kankar. I have a business called Lael by Mail. Tonight, we are getting together to get our traveler's notebook set up for the month of July using the July portion of the summer fall season pass. Earlier this year, well, really, I guess in January, I opened up the season pass classes for free to anyone that would like to watch. So, if you are familiar with season pass, great. If you're not, well, you're in for a treat. In the description box of the video down below, I have linked to the season pass kit that I am using. I will be using this for July, August, and September. And it is available as a kit, but it is also available a la carte products. So you can get a bundle or basically, everything a la carte. Yeah, so we'll jump to that in a minute. There is a live chat as I am working and as I'm live, there's a live chat that takes place. So if you are watching live and would like to pop in and say hello, that would be lovely. I would love to know that you're here. Let us know if you're new, let us know if you've been around a while, or let us know your name, or let us know where you're from, or just say, hey, and then I know you're here. If you're watching the replay, welcome to you as well, although you can't chat in the live, or you can't chat live, because you won't be live, but you could also leave a comment on the video if you would like. Regardless, if you're watching live or watching replay, thumbs up would sure be appreciated. I would appreciate that. All right, so let me check out the chat, and as soon as I check out the chat, we'll rotate the camera and dig in, okay? I think some of you have some soccer to watch, maybe, right? Maybe some soccer to watch. Carrie said she can't believe it's almost July, and asking how everyone is. Mary C. Plans, hello, hello. I know, you guys, it's crazy. July, like how? How? I was arguing with a customer service agent via chat right up until this and about a prescription that I need. Anyhow, long story short, Nick and I are going to be gone for 2 weeks, and I let them know in plenty of time, and she was telling me that there's just nothing they can do. We're sorry, we just can't get it to you. And then at the very end, she's like, well, when you get the link to order it again, you could just have it filled at your local Walmart. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me this like beginning in conversation? It would have made things go a lot better for both of us. Anyhow, I don't even know where that came from, but I just shared. You know me, I squirrel. I just share. Hello, Shannon. Nice to see you. Dawn said happy almost July, everyone. July Eve Eve. Yes, so that's funny when you say July Eve Eve. We had some friends that years ago, their son, well, we got to be their friends because our boys played football together. And the day before Christmas Eve, they always called it Christmas Adam. So kind of July Eve Eve, Christmas Eve, Christmas Adam. I thought that was pretty clever. Hello, Yvette. Yvette said she feels like this year is passing too fast. I know, it's halfway over. It's halfway over. And I'm kind of the cup half empty kind of person. because as soon as June 21st hit, I'm like, oh no, now every day is getting darker and darker and darker. I like the summer. I like the bright light. Yes. And so, yeah, half the year's over. Craziness. Rainy, humid night in central Canada. Hello, Carol. Um, Charlene, she can't believe it's, I know all of us can't believe it's July, can't believe it's July. But she said the weather's given her a clue. Now, our weather, you would be thinking it was like February. Well, no, not February, maybe March or April. So, yeah, just odd. All next week, you're going to be in the high 80s and almost 100 in Nebraska. That is nuts. Stay cool. Laura's happy to be here. She's going to put the July setup together and try to watch the World Cup. Yes, who's playing this evening? Who is playing? Well, I guess we should say who is being televised, right? Because probably lots of people playing still. I think they just made it to elimination round, if I remember, right? There's Carrie, Carrie, two Carries, Carrie Evans and then Carrie Meredith. Carrie Meredith, excited to use the new products. The season pass just keeps getting better and better. Thank you. I'm so, I just realized I don't have any rings on. My wedding rings, all my rings. I don't have really, I've got, no, a few bracelets, my watch, everything's gone. I mean, it's upstairs, so that was just weird. Sometimes you feel naked without it. I don't know, when Nick and I first got married 31 years ago, I read something that says you shouldn't sleep with your wedding ring on because the sheets can start to wear down the prongs that hold in the diamond or diamonds or whatever. So I don't sleep with my wedding rings. And then sometimes I forget to put them on. So there we go. Yeah, it's going to be a squirrel night. I can already tell. Carrie, I'm glad you feel like it's getting better. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're in a pretty strong groove right now. Believe it or not, we are just about getting ready to start on the season pass design for 2027. Fall holiday is already done. We've already started receiving some of the products. But yeah, we work about 6 months in advance, which is crazy. Crazy. Judy just getting home from work. Kelly, it's her first season pass setup. Yay! Oh, I love that. Wanda said hello. Major heat wave in the south. Debbie Flanagan, Vegas. It's only 87. That's good for Vegas, right? Becky Sauls, hello. Phyllis Bowens from Rancho Cucamonga. Rancho Cucamonga. 100 degrees in New Mexico. Marla, hello. Ms. L, hello. Kathy Rodriguez, Southern California, hello. Kathy Albenborn, hello. Hello, Elise. Nice to see you. Judy and Marianne. But Sharon, Australia. Hello, Sharon. Nice to have you join us from the other part of the world, down under, I guess, right? Hello, Catherine from Texas. Hello, Serenity from Canada. She started cutting her papers and made the cover. Sorted her die cuts on Saturday. She's ready to roll. Awesome. I love that. Hello, Gina Goodman. Diane Bruce. Heather is back for her second live. Oh, that's good, right? That's good that you're back for the second one. Hello, Linda from Huntington Beach. Leah's here from hot suburbs of Atlanta. Nice to have you here. July starts her favorite for Kelly, her favorite last 6 months of the year. I like that. Maritza, hello. Laura. Oh, tonight, Netherlands versus Morocco. Yes. So we'll see, right? I don't know what time it starts, but maybe I'll be able to, maybe some of us will be able to catch some of it at the end. 50 degrees in Montana. Mary Pat. Oh my goodness. You need kind of this time of year, the western part of the United States, we like desperately need the rain, right? Desperately. So many fires right now. It's scary. Hello, Dawn from Lake Charles, Louisiana. We met in Conroe. Oh, I love that. Thank you for joining us. No, not Dawn. Dana. I saw Dana Mowbray and I put you, I don't know, I mixed up all the letters. Dana, hello. Lisa made it. Miriam by the Sea, hello. Wendy McTurk, Kristen Rhodes. Tetons. So Kristen, we were Tetons, and then since then, we also did Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. So both were amazing in totally different ways. The mountains in the west, a little bit bigger than those, just a little bit. But both were amazing. Thank you. Lisa Lackey said hello. She's in a bit of a listing scrapbooking lull. Well, tonight is time to just jump back in with us. Julie Fallon and Heather Teresa, very hot in Texas. All right, friends. So you may see me twice this week. Tonight for our setup for July, and then Wednesday night, and watch for an email sometime tomorrow hopefully in the morning, about the next 3 Saturdays that aren't Saturdays, and they're not listing either. But I'm doing really something fun the next 3 weeks. I am taking you on a trip with us. And so the first live that I do this Wednesday, one of the biggest questions I get asked about when I'm traveling and I'm taking my traveler's notebook and things with me is, what do I take? And then how do I narrow it down? And so this coming Wednesday, I will be doing a live showing you what I'm taking. And then I'll also be prepping my traveler's notebooks so that I can document on the road like I do. Excuse me. So that will be this coming Wednesday. That's July 1st. The following week, I think the next two are both Thursdays. The following week on the 9th, 8th, on the 8th, we'll be going live from our little RV and documenting our day. Because that's what I do when I am documenting a trip on the road. I sit down at night and document, but it's very quick. It's not a 3 or 4 hour process because I've done a lot of prep work ahead of time. That we'll do on Wednesday. And then the following Thursday, I'll go live again from our RV, and I'll do one of my junk journal pages that I like to do when we travel. So that's what's coming for the next couple of weeks, but you may see me on Wednesday if you join in for that. Yeah, it'll be fun to have you guys travel along with me. I know. Hello, Tina from the Pacific Northwest. Sweatshirt weather. Same here. Same sweatshirt weather here too. All right, friends, I think we're ready. I think we've had some other people join. So if I miss saying hello to you, welcome, welcome. I think we should dive in. All right, so I'm going to rotate the camera and we're going to go. I'm going to rotate the camera. I will plug in and then we're going to go. Oh, that was a little rusty, a little rusty. Now we have to plug in because I'm almost out of juice. There we go. All righty. Hello from St. Louis, Lori Land, who just finished dinner. Nice to have you. Marsha's going to Alaska on the 10th. You're taking your traveler's notebook. I love that for you. I love that for you. That is one of my favorite ways to use a traveler's notebook, is actually for travel. Now there's lots of different things you could use it for, and we're using it, at least I am. This particular one I use for my calendar. I use for project planning, a lot of different things. So as we get started, let me grab one more thing here. I have separated, as have a number of you, I have separated all of my die cuts out already for the month of July. I've also pulled out my paper. I have pulled out the rub-ons and the word strip stickers and the stamps. As far as ink goes for stamping, I used this was included in an email, the last couple of emails that went out about the free class. These are the 9 distress inks. I use distress oxides, but these are the 9 distress inks colors that I have swatched for the summer fall season pass. Picked raspberry, candied apple, spiced marmalade, squeezed lemonade, fossilized amber, mowed lawn, peeled paint, prize ribbon, and gathered twigs. So for today, candied apple. Let me grab candied apple. I already got squeezed lemonade out. Mowed lawn and prize ribbon. So let's grab those. I will be using those colors to stamp. Now, you don't have to use any color to stamp. Well, you don't have to stamp. That would be sad if you didn't stamp, but you know, you do you. But you can use any colors that you have, or you can even use black, right? You don't have to use color. But one of the biggest questions I get once we come out with any new product line is, tell us what colors coordinate. Tell us what colors coordinate. So those are the ones that I will be working with today. And if you need this again for reference, you'll find this on either on the blog at lailbymail.com, or you'll find this same image on all of the summer fall season pass products on the website. Okay, so there was something I was just looking for. I'm going to grab here very quickly. Some of you are new and have not worked with a season pass before. So I am going to start out. Before I can start in July, really what I have to do is I need to unpack from June. So my June setup, I already pulled my inserts out, but my June setup was here. So with June, we rounded out all of the months for the spring summer season pass. So that was all my decorating. for my pockets for June. And then I had both of my slip-covered inserts. One of the biggest questions that I get when people start kind of working with Season Pass is, what do you do, Lael, with all of these things when you're done, right? Because I switch up my traveler's notebook every month. I decorate the pockets, I do slip cover my inserts, and I change that every month, right? And so what happens with all these things when I'm done? I don't throw them away. There are a couple of different things that you can do with them. Every so often, I will make and show you let me see, card. So this would have been one of the inserts, one of the slip covers that I had created for one of our inserts in the spring. So basically all I did was cut that center part off and put it on a card base. And then, I mean, that was all already done. Basically, I just cut that out. It's like that went on there, and it was done. So those, using your slip covers for that, it's a great idea. Just to make a really simple card. And then you've done something with it there. I wanted to show you what I did with this one this past Saturday during one of our creative listing sessions. So keep in mind that I end up making 2 of these. I make 2 of every month because I make my sample and then during class, I recreate it again. So I had this piece, this slip cover, and I took it off and I did that, right? So basically, I cut that edge off, cut it here, and then adhered it down on each side of my traveler's notebook spread there, and then built a list on top of it. So if you have been doing Season Pass with me and you have not been saving your slip covers, you guys, you are missing out, because look how fun that is. I mean, and that just stretches your money all the further, right? It's like you rented a dress and then you owned a dress. Hi, honey.
Hi, I decided not to scare you this morning.
Thank you. Decided not to scare me.
Yeah.
Gosh, if you were with me on Saturday, the last couple Saturdays, Nick, my husband, has like walked down the stairs and scared the pants off of me. He scared a lot of you guys too. So thank you for not scaring us.
How long are you going to be?
I don't know why. Soccer?
No.
Will you go grab my rings?
No.
Please? Please? I feel naked without them.
How long are you going to be?
I don't know. Why?
Because I'm going to go for a walk. I'm just kind of wondering how long you're going to be.
Oh, well, I will be longer than your walk, I promise. Sorry, friends. I just gotta, chat with the husband really quick. Yeah, but this one, this I loved, was so fun. I think one of the reasons I liked this so much was that when you use it this way, you lose all the rest of those awesome like sun rays. But when you were able to use it that way, you get that full, beautiful exposure of the sun. Now, maybe you're just watching this. Maybe you don't use a traveler's notebook. Maybe you purchased the summer fall season pass and you're just looking for ideas. Or maybe you purchased spring summer. Well, this you could do, you could still cut it if you're a scrapbooker. You could do something like that on a scrapbook page and then add your photos or whatever you wanted to do. We already talked about card maker. If you make tags or working in a mini book, there's a lot of different things that you could do with what you have left over. All right. So tell me, don't throw them away. Obviously you do what you'd like to do, but I encourage you not to throw it away, to do something with it, right? Yes. Let's see. Mary said, I make an opening page in my listing traveler's notebook and one in my A5 planner dashboard, inspiration board type page. I love that, right? I love that you guys are, that you're using, once you're done, you're using the pieces for other things, right? Let's see. Wanda said, I don't use one, but I love the season pass kit. And you know what? I love that. And it's not just for traveler's notebooks, right? That's what I use it for getting my traveler's notebook set up every month. And then I also use it, the pieces, once the month is over in my traveler's notebook as well in my listing. So, all right. So we needed to move out of, thank you. I'm married again, I guess, huh? Thank you.
Did you want your watch too?
No, I don't need watches. I feel naked without my rings. I feel naked.
Well, you don't look naked at night. You have that really pretty white shirt with the flowers on it.
I don't look naked. Good thing I don't look naked. I would scare a lot of people.
Well, they only see you from the chest up. So, in fact, you don't have pants on right now.
I
They
have
would never
pants
know.
on, Nick. I told him I have pants and wool socks on. Oh my gosh, you guys, what kind of operation do you think we're running around here? Yikes. Okay. All right, let's
I
get.
don't know what kind of operation. I try to get you to wear pants every day, and you just
Oh, Nick,
refuse to.
oh, Lordy. Anyhow, that's what 31 years of marriage will get you, I guess. You know he's joking. Now he's trying to make me look like a dingling that I don't wear pants around the house. I mean, you know what? Well, there was a guy, there's two workers working here in our floor in our basement all last week and today. So I certainly hope I have pants on, right? I don't know, whatever. Different strokes for different folks, maybe, right? Whatever makes you happy, you should do. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. All right, so we are unslip covering, and some of you are like, whoa, 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 hold on, back up, back up, back up. Well, I haven't done this before, so you're talking about slip covering. Will you explain that? And I will explain that. I have been doing traveler's notebook like this. I've been decorating my traveler's notebook on a monthly basis for probably the last 10 years, and I've been doing project kits surrounding this for the last, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9. So when I first started when I first started decorating my traveler's notebooks, I've probably been using a traveler's notebook maybe about the last 12 years. But when I first started decorating my inserts, this is what I did. This is my insert from back then. Christmas was coming around, and I thought, you know what? I think I'd like to decorate my traveler's notebook for Christmas. I'll put nice Christmas things in here. And then I'm working on this insert right now, but it should be decorated. It'd be cute if it was decorated for Christmas. As you can tell how old it is, it's been through the ringer. And so I got out my glue and I glued Christmas paper and Christmas embellishments to my traveler's notebook insert, which was great. It was super cute for Christmas. Every time I opened it up, it was Christmas and I was happy until Christmas was over. And January rolled around and I went, uh-oh. I glued Christmas to my insert. And you can see, I got a little ways through and then I stopped because I had glued Christmas. And I'm like, well, that's not going to work, but I'm not going to let that stop me from figuring out how I can decorate my traveler's notebook and my inserts every month without having to commit, right? Without having to glue things on and then, find myself in a pickle. That's where I came up with the idea of slip covering. And so as we look at, and we will make this together, but as we look at one of our two inserts, that is actually, let me, hang on. Where's that one I just had? Let's pretend. Here. So let's pretend it was like this, right? I already took this one off. Already unpacked. Okay, here we go. So there is my calendar insert. That is an insert that I use every month in my traveler's notebook, right? I have my calendar, I decorate it, and I decorate it for every month. Slipcover, right? So that when June is over, I can take June off. That was the slipcover we made for June. And make a slipcover for July. And there's nothing that is holding that on, right? It's not glued. There's not even any washi. In past years, we had included washi tape with the Traveler's Notebook kits with Season Pass, and it got to the point where you don't even need washi, right? It holds on to itself. So we're going to start out by doing our slipcovers. Let me grab our paper. So the 4 papers for July, the cut aparts with this really fun, I think that's just the cutest little banner on the back side. We have the lemons with a nice chunky green and white stripe on the back side. We have a ombre star with ice cream cones on the back side and popsicles. And then we have a beautiful navy flower with a nice checkerboard on the back side. Don't forget your cover sheet also has a pattern. So you could use this for any month. You could, if you want to use it, this together. I didn't use them together, but there's actually a lot of this. How fun would that be together? Right? Or how fun that could be fun together. that could be fun together. So you have lots of different options. That could be really fun together. So you have lots of different options in terms of what you can kind of mix and match. This also goes really well with August. Not so much September, because September we start getting into the fall colors, but that could be used for July and or August. So for my slip covers, I ended up with this as one, and I ended up with this one as the other side. Now, I really like the lemons. Like, I love the lemons, but for me, I thought that if I had those two things together, I mean, it's not bad, but it's just kind of a lot of pattern going on. So I ended up using that green stripe, but we still get to use the lemons a little bit. So those are the two papers that I used for my slip covers. Obviously, you have choices. You always have choices, so you can do whatever you would like. So we're going to start out working with these two papers, and we're going to grab our trimmer. Let's move these guys off to the side. They're in my way. All right, let's start with the floral pattern first. So when you look at this paper, there is really no direction or orientation to that flower pattern. So it doesn't really matter how we put it in our trimmer. When we turn it over, same thing here. We kind of have that checkerboard picnic tablecloth, no direction. So we're not really worried about which direction we are putting our paper in our trimmer on this piece. We need to trim it to 8¼ inches tall. And I trimmed to 8¼ inches tall because our Traveler's Notebook inserts are 8¼ inches tall. So that will be the height. And we don't trim the width. We keep it that full 12 inches. All right, so there's that one. We will do the same now with this guy. But this side does have an orientation, right? Your lemons are top to bottom, right? They are still hanging on the tree. They haven't fallen off the tree yet, right? They're still hanging on the tree. So when we cut this paper, I'd like to kind of be cognizant of that direction. Even though I'm not necessarily using this side for my slipcover, I'm using this side for my slipcover. And to me, this pattern also has a direction, orientation. When I'm working with a stripe in my Traveler's Notebooks, I like that stripe to be horizontal because well, I don't know why, I guess it's personal preference. I like the stripe to be horizontal as opposed to be vertical like that. So to me, there is definitely an orientation, and I need to be thinking about that orientation or direction as I put that paper in my trimmer. So this guy, I also want to cut at 8¼ So if I trim it right there at 8¼ when I rotate it, my stripes are now horizontal, and I have my my lemons that are still hanging from the tree. They have not fallen off the tree. All right. Next thing we need to do, we're going to put this little guy off to the side. Oh, actually, we do use a piece of that. We are going to trim a 3-inch wide piece of this. And then we're also going to hang on to this. We're going to be doing a little bit of fussy cutting. So kind of just put that little guy right there. And we're going to put our card right there because we'll need that little card. So that was just what we had left over, right? We cut our 8¼ by 12 piece, put it off to the side. And this was what we had left over, and trimmed a little 3-inch wide piece. We'll use that too. All right. So we also want to trim an 8-inch piece of this. The checkerboard side, I am tucking into that little side pocket in my Traveler's Notebook. So it just kind of is a fun little pocket stuffer. Now, depending on what you think you might want to do with this piece, you might want to, it needs to be at least 8 inches tall. So this is what I'm going to do to kind of try to preserve things. I'm going to trim it to 8. So I have all of this to play with later if I want. And then what I have left over, I'll make that about 2 inches tall. 2 inches wide. All right. I just need that little piece so that I can stick it in the side of my little pockets there. All right. So those I'm not using. This one is going right there. Whoopsie, stuck in one of my stamps. Going right there for something that I'd like to use. All right, so let's see, do we need anything else cut? We do. All right, now this is where you may make a decision. Once we Once we cut our slip covers, we'll cut our last piece of paper, and that's going to be our 3x4 cards. This little piece right here, you can barely see those stripes, but that I cut from this. All right. So I am only using a little piece of that, about a 3x4. You can see those little stripes in the background. That comes from here. So some of you might be like, Lael, no, I'm not going to cut up this full 12x12 piece of paper just so I can have a few stripes right there. I will use white cardstock, or I will use a piece of this. You could use a piece of this instead. You're just going to be putting a couple of die cuts on there. So you could even, if you wanted, put that in there, even though you have that piece, but that's what I did here. So I am going to trim. Hold on. There's one in the cut aparts. There is. Let's look. Oh my goodness. Mary, thank you, hon. There is. Rewind. Forget all that. We don't need to do that because we have it in the cut aparts. Let's go ahead and cut the cut aparts now. Let's do that. It's funny because I don't know. It's probably been, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago. I designed my traveler's notebook, put it all together for July. You'd think it's 2 years ago based on the fact that I forgot that that was a piece. All right, so now we're going to our cut apart paper, and we are cutting our cut aparts. You guys keep me honest. I love it. Well, it's not like I was lying, but you keep me on my toes. All right, there we go. There we go. And I am not being very straight with my trimmer today. Okay. Now this guy, I cut in half. And it gets used right here. So it's just kind of breaking up. There's a lot of white and there's a lot of pattern kind of playing in here. And so I cut this in half, and I'm using that card, kind of this little portion of that card. So that I'm cutting in half. That's a 4x6. So I'll trim that to a 3x4. And actually on the sheet, it's like this. So you could put a fun little title or something down below, but I'm going to use it upside down like that. And we'll cut the rest of these little guys up. How's everybody doing this evening? It's a Monday. You glad that Monday's over? Glad that Monday's over? Oh, Emma. I will not lead you astray, my friend. Emma said, I've been so intimidated to get started on a traveler's notebook. I'll start one and discard it because I don't like how it's going. What don't you like about how it's going? I'm just curious. Curious, Emma, how can I help you? How can I help you? Heather, what do you do with the pocket decorations after the season is done? I love how the cover can be used in the pages later. Are the pocket decorations later used on pages too? Heather, they are. So let me pull something out and I will show you. These, I just got these back in the mail. These are my last 2 completed Traveler's Notebook inserts. They went off to Amy for photography. So when they go off for photography for the idea book, they get completely disassembled. And what I mean by that, all the pages are no longer connected. So if this looks really weird, that's why, because it has gone out for photography. So let's see. Oh yes, here's one. This was February. All right. So that is basically what that is, right? When we get all of that built, everything is very loosely connected to each other. So you can kind of pull all those out in one piece. And that's what I did with that. In my Traveler's Notebook, the insert, I trimmed the page down so it was that narrow. And then I just put adhesive on the back of all those things and went, and there it is. So it's kind of a little in-between page. You could, if you are very careful, you could probably start to pull off some of your die cuts and things. Depending on what you've used to adhere those, you may be able to pull them off of the little cards they're sitting on. But usually if I'm using the insides, that's what I do. That's a great question. Great question. And those just got back in the mail the other day, so I'm glad I had that to show you. Carrie said she uses them in pages or on cards, right? I love it. I love it. Thank you, Serenity, for sharing that. Serenity said, Emma, I have to tell you, I had to get over it all being perfect. It is what it is, and some will be better than 2 months later. I look back at all the color and I love it. I love that. Yep, very good, very good. All right. So we have all of our cutting done, and I think we are ready to, start, let's decorate the pockets, all right? Let's decorate our pockets first, and then we will do our slipcovers. So this month I am using the navy scallop traveler's notebook as my cover. And I thought that went really well because there's a lot of navy in July. Now, you can use whatever traveler's notebook cover that you'd like. All of my Lail by Mail covers are all cream or whitish, on the inside, which means they will go with anything. And that is very much by design. You will never, and when I say never, I mean never, you will never see me stray from that. So regardless of what the cover looks like, regardless of the 6 new covers that I just got the samples for today, regardless of what those look like, the inside is always cream. So it makes it really neutral. Okay, so I'm using, like I said, I'm using that navy scallop. So let's get that little guy opened up there. Heather said, wow, I like the idea of using them as a divider. One of the things that's been holding me back from making pocket things is that I didn't think I would have anywhere to save them. Yeah, I love that. A little tip in, right? All right, so as we build, if you are new to working with Season Pass and setting up a traveler's notebook, we always start with the cards. We start with the cards and go from the top to the bottom. And then we will go kind of add our stickers and die cuts and stamping and things like that. Oh, Carrie, I have to share this with everyone because I knew your mother. Carrie said little squirrel story. So she's, we're getting off topic, but that's what we're all here for because that's what I do. She said, my mom passed away about a year and a half ago. Kathy did. She said she had been listing since the pandemic. She'd been doing the creative listing with us. What all the kids and grandkids wanted were her traveler's notebooks. They weren't always picture perfect. Carrie, thank you for sharing that. And she said, but they were the most precious. That, I tell you what, Carrie, that is, I think that's so important, right? It's a lot of times, it's kind of similar. We feel like we shouldn't be in pictures. We don't like the way we look too fat. We didn't wash our hair. We don't like our outfit. But our family and our friends, they want to see those pictures of us, right? Just like your mom probably did some things in her traveler's notebook that weren't her favorite, but when she's no longer here, you guys are also glad to have that piece of her, right? Because she was telling a story through her list. So I love that you are sharing that with us. Thank you. All right, so we are starting from the top, and the one that we're starting with is that little guy. So that is on the back side of the lemons, and I said we'd kind of cut a little piece of that. I outline everything. And so I just take my little black Sharpie pen and outline, and that will go into that top pocket. So as we're working, I will have sample on one side, and then I will have what I'm working on the other side. I need like 8 more feet. All right, next up we have this guy. And this guy, really, we're just getting a pop of color. We're not using it to fill out any information, but you certainly could down the road, right? Once July is over and you've moved on to August, you could pull out all the individual little cards and then do something with the individual cards. So that one will go in next. I'm not adhering anything together. I'm not worried about any of that right now. I am just stuffing the pockets. All right, next up we have which one is that? Which one is that? It is the other half. Pardon my reach. It is the other half of this guy. All right. So I am using it for this side. That really cute banner. I love all those banners. They're so cute. Wouldn't it be fun to have a little banner like that in real life? It'd be so fun for birthdays and celebrations. And all right, so that guy is going to go right there. And then we have, let's see, did it go in there? It did. All right, then we have this guy, right? That is, we cut in half, and one half we turned over and put there. This is the second half. I can hear myself. Let me turn down the volume here. I could hear a very slight echo. Okay, this little guy will go in. I think it looks like it is also in this same pocket. So this is also why I don't glue anything down. We'll do that in a little bit, but just because you kind of, as you're putting cards in, you may need to move things around a little bit. Then we have this guy, this Summer Fun. I don't know, it's really hard for me to decide. It's like having a favorite child. I love all 3 months of summer fall season pass equally. It's hard to tell which one I like better. All right, and this one, as I position a little bit, we want to make sure that we'd be able to see a little bit of that little flower there. Then we have this one, not to be confused. This is one of the 3x4 cards, right? Not to be confused with the cover, backside of the cover. This one will also stuff into that bottom pocket. Now, obviously, you have a decision. You can decide if you want to see more of the red and pink and yellow side or more of the kind of blue and green side. And I opted for this side because of what is going to go below it. The kind of this red checkerboard piece is going to go below it. So I didn't want to have kind of a whole bunch of red here and then red here. With this guy, this is prime decorating real estate right here, right? But we don't necessarily, well, we certainly don't want to stamp on it, and we don't necessarily want to add stickers to it either. So we're going to create like a little canvas, a little canvas for us. I was trying to combine too many words together there. Canvas for us. Anyhow, so we're going to use this card that says all the details, and it has a little cute camera there. We are going to fold it about 1 inch from the top. Fold it. If you'd like to measure, you can, but it's about 1 inch from the top. What that's going to do is give us this little flap, and that little flap is going to tuck into that bottom pocket, and then that card will sit on top, and that will kind of be our base for some stamping and some decorating. So fold that down about 1 inch, and then we're going to open it back up again. We need to fold it first because we need to know where our top is. We don't necessarily want to go over under this part. So we can see that little crease there. I'm going to come in and do my little outline, even though we won't see that top part. And then, as you can see, I started out with doing a little stamping. So that's a lot of white space, right? And we don't want to leave all that white space. That's prime decorating space. So I started out by stamping some yellow flowers. So let's go to our stamp set. I have another one of those. Let me see if it's here. Let me see if I have it. I can tell. Oh, here it is. Yep. I can tell because that one is brand new. I can tell it hasn't been used yet. Or I cleaned it really well. What did I do? I can't tell which. I think I cleaned both of these so well. I can't tell which one I used. Do I have another one? Hold on, friends. Let me see here. Yeah, I don't think so. I just cleaned it really well. That's a shocker, right? All right. So what I need to assume now, since I don't know which one of these I used, I have to assume that they are all, oh, I can tell it's this one. We'll go through this anyway. We're going to assume that you haven't used this stamp set yet, all right? So once we pull off that little backer, your stamps are not ready to be used right out of the package. And it's not just my Lail by Mail stamps that aren't ready to be used right out of the package. It's really pretty much any clear stamp like this, whether it's photopolymer. I know for sure photopolymer. I'm not sure if it's the case for acrylic. I assume it is. So, and you might be like, I don't know what stamps I have that are acrylic and what stamps are photopolymer. Then you want to do this with all of your stamps when they're brand new. You need to prime or condition your stamps before you use them. They are not ready to be used right out of the package. The reason for that is there's a high possibility that your stamps have a little bit of residue on them from the manufacturing process. So when we think about baking muffins, so you have a muffin tin and you have your muffin batter, and you probably don't just go ahead and dump that muffin batter into the tin, right? Because if you did, it would stick. When the muffins were done baking and you tried to release them from the muffin tin, they would stick. Very similar process when they are making photopolymer stamps. They have a mold. They pour the polymer in and it sets to that mold. But they're worried about it sticking like the muffin. So they spray a release agent into that mold. And so when the stamps come out easily, it's possible that they still have some of that release agent on them. You can't see it, but it's likely there. If you've ever stamped with a stamp and right out of the package and it looks kind of blotchy, it doesn't quite look right, that's likely because there's still some of that release agent on the stamp. So we need to get rid of that. There's a couple of different ways to get rid of that. Your stamp packaging has a link on the back with a QR code to a free class here on my YouTube channel that walks you through how to prime or condition your stamps before you use them. And there's a couple of different ways. None of them are right or wrong, just personal preference. So I'm going to show you what I do when I'm priming my stamps. I use a just white rubber eraser. I don't use this for erasing anything. I only use it for my stamps. And so I am just going to gently kind of rub across the top of all of those stamps. And I do this when I get a new stamp set, even though right now I'm not planning on using all of these stamps, right? I mean, I will eventually, but not for tonight. And so instead of just conditioning the ones that I want to use tonight, it's just easier to do the whole sheet. It'll save you a lot less time in the long run. So just gently going over the top of that, and that is going to remove any of that release agent or that residue. Next up, we need to clean that because now we probably have a few eraser tailings on there, right? Remember when we were in third grade and we'd erase our spelling test answer so hard that it would like leave a whole bunch of little eraser pieces and also tear a hole in the paper. Hopefully you haven't been erasing that hard, but you do want to clean that. And I'm just using a little stamp chamois. You can use a stamp chamois. You can use a wet paper towel. Some people like to use a baby wipe. I generally will stay away from a baby wipe because most baby wipes have alcohol in them. And some people say that alcohol over time can start to wear down the polymer in your stamp. So however you're going to clean it, just clean it, right? I didn't use any soap or anything, just water. And then you want to dry it. Because you're going to use it right away, it's always a good idea to dry it because depending on what ink you're using, if you're using a pigment-based ink that is water reactive, if your stamp is wet, the ink may be reacting with the water on your stamp and do something that you weren't expecting. You might not like what it does. But some people like that. That's why some people use pigment-based inks because they react and do different things with water. But that's not what I'm going for. So to stamp that background, I am grabbing that little cluster of flowers there. I need a stamping block. Let me just get them all out. So they're out because every time I open my drawer, it shakes us all. All right. So stamping block. Now, for me, there's a very important rule when it comes to stamping, and that is right size your stamping block to your stamp. What I mean by that, this is not right sized. That stamping block is much larger than my stamp. Now that will work. Absolutely that will work. But it's a little bit trickier because There's a little stamp in the center, and I kind of have to work with it and, make sure it's even. And the larger your stamping block in comparison to your stamp, not necessarily a better thing. So I think, especially if you're just getting out started stamping, if you can start collecting different size stamping blocks, you'll find it'll make your life a lot easier. So that's one of our little cylinders that comes in a set of 2 like that. And I am just going to place my stamp on my work surface and then pick it up with my stamping block. All right. So that is right sized. It is just about the size. That to me is much easier to work with than a larger one, but of course you can use a larger one. So I'm going to take my squeezed lemonade. That is one of the colors that I have swatched that coordinates with the collection. And I will usually test first. Always a good idea to test, right? Just so you can get a feel. Do you have enough ink on there? Yes, that looks good. So now we can go in and commit. When you're working with a stamp like this, I like to rotate it. If you keep that stamp in the same position every time, it starts to look a little bit stiff, right? Oh, what did I just get on there? Something. So I'm just rotating. There's my little background. If you are worried about stamping on top of the camera, you could grab a little sticky note and create a little mask. So if I was worried about that, I could just take that little sticky and cut it right there. And then I could just, I just got rid of this. I got rid of the sticky end like that. And then I could do, well, that didn't work. Let's try another sticky. I think you know what I mean. There we go. So I would come in and take my little sticky and size that to the camera. Put that right there, and then I can stamp all around this, and I'm not worried about stamping on top of the camera. Now in this case, because the yellow is so light, I probably wouldn't even noticed if I had done that. But let's say I was stamping with maybe that blue. I was stamping with prize ribbon. And then it might be really obvious if I accidentally stamped on top of the camera. So you can always create a mask to cover up something that you don't want it to get stamped on. Okay, so next up we have this little guy that says, loved this so much. What I think, oh, let's clean this and put it back. Can the white towel that comes with the Sammy be washed? Heather, yes. Yeah, that's a microfiber cloth, so you can absolutely throw that in the wash. I do mine all the time. Yeah, because after a while, they just, especially when you're drying, they just, need to be washed. Your stamp chamois, you don't need to wash them. Lawn Fawn, who makes this particular one, you don't need to wash them. They kind of just absorb that ink, and it doesn't, bleed onto anything or transfer onto anything. All right, so now we have loved this so much. And what's so fun about the season pass stamps is that there's always a good mix of things that are specific maybe to the month, like some leaves, another leaf, your stars, but your stars could work with anything, right? Your stars could work for Halloween. Your stars could work for Christmas. Your stars can work for July, for the 4th of July. So there's always a good mix of stamps that could be used, definitely in season pass, but I want to be able to use these stamps outside of season pass down the road. So we really kind of work to make sure that everything is really pretty neutral and you can use them for lots of different things. Like the loved this so much. You'll notice I just switched out my stamping block. One thing that you should not do is this. When we talk about right sizing, this is not right sizing. Do not try to, well, you can try it. Maybe I encourage you to try it on a piece of scratch paper. You don't want to try to stamp with a stamping block that is too small because there's no support around all this part that's around the edges. So you're not going to get a very nice crisp stamp that way. So don't go small. You can always go larger if you have to, but don't go smaller. All right. So there we go. There is loved this so much. I'm going to come back again and use my little scratch paper here. This blue is prized ribbon. Loved this so much. So because my little, once we get that stamped, we'll put it in the pocket and we'll start adding our pieces. But because part of this die cut has pop dots under it or foam squares, I don't want to try to put that on before I stamp. That's going to cause some problems because my stamping block might run into this little part that's popped out over there. So always try to do all the flat things first, especially the stamping, and then come back in and decorate beyond that. So I did this probably about right there. Nice even pressure. Loved this so much. And whatever I got on there before, whoops, you can't even see. I had a little mark of something under there before. You can't even see it. You can't even see it anymore. All right, let's clean this guy off. We'll see you later, Emma. Denise, I'm missing some of it. I'm missing some of the things. What did, let's scroll up really quick and see what Denise said. Denise. I missed something way far back, didn't I? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. Denise said to Carrie, my kids and 16 grandkids love to look at mine every time they visit, right? Because it's a peek into, you know, our family, our friends, right? Family and friends. We have friends that feel like family. They want to know about us. They want to see what we're doing. So I love that your kids and your grandkids, you guys, you want to see those things. That's really awesome. All right, so now that is ready to go into our pocket and we'll decorate from there. So we're taking that little flap and we're tucking it in our pocket and that is going to sit on top. Now, it will not stay. It won't stay down, right? So we just need to add a little tiny bit of adhesive, just a little bit. I don't know, maybe that's like 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to tack that down. I don't want to use too much because I don't like to put a lot of adhesive on the traveler's notebook itself. It doesn't need it to hold that piece down. And then it's much easier later to just, you know, gently peel it back up as opposed to, you know, trying to deal with something that's really, really adhered. All right, so now let's go back up to the top again and we're going to top down, start adding some of our die cuts. And we will start with the camera. So camera, if you are wanting to ever separate your die cuts right out of the gate when you get your season pass, if you look at the back of the packaging, which let me grab mine here very quickly. If you look at the back of the packaging, it is somewhat organized by month. So that kind of top third is July. This top third, it's really easy to tell the difference between August and September. That middle part is August and bottom part is September. So kind of where it says hello July and then it says hello August and then it has hello September. So if you wanted to sort things ahead of time so you're not, you know, during class going, wait a minute, where's that one? Where's that one? Where did you find it? All right, so this little guy, looks like that camera is just going down flat. I didn't put any kind of little pop dots or anything under it. That will go right there. And we have these two pieces next. So we have our little banner and we have a red flower. I haven't adhered any of these cards together yet, right? I had not adhered them at all. Carrie, thank goodness for the packaging. Otherwise I would be lost. Same, Carrie, same. Sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, is that for July or August? And then I go, oh yeah, the packaging tells me. All right, I haven't adhered any of the cards together yet, but what's going to start happening is we start adding our pieces. That is going to be what adheres our card together. We don't have to stick anything down to the pockets so they stick. All the pieces are going to end up connected together by what we're doing here. All right, so it looks like on that guy, we have a little foam square on the pointed end of that banner. Move that so I'm not reaching so far there. And that is going about right there, kind of up at a little angle. And then we have that cute red flower. That one also is getting popped. So the only time you will see me use any kind of foam adhesive or dimensional adhesive or really anything dimensional in my traveler's notebooks is in the pockets and sometimes on the slip covers. But on the inside pages, I don't ever use anything dimensional because it makes it really hard down the line to try to write in it. All right, next up, we have this really, really pretty floral cluster. And that is pop dotted. I can feel that. So go ahead and add some foam squares if you are using dimensional adhesive. Go ahead and add your foam squares. And if not, you probably already have it down. Okay. And then let's see, kind of went right about there. Next up, we have that little guy. That was just kind of a big old white space, but blue space. So I grabbed a white word strip sticker. I grabbed the one that said mindful, and really I grabbed that one because it fit. Sometimes it's just more about what fits, right? It kind of fills in that little blank space. Ooh, we need to move that down so we can see our summer fun, right? Here we have 2 stars. I don't know where my blue star is. I'm going to have 1 star. I'm going to have that star, the white star with the blue outline. And I will pop that little guy right there. I also have a small red star. Since I don't know where my blue star is, it ran away. I am going to use a little glue pen here and that red star. Yes, if it looks like something is, my mantra is, if it looks like something is missing, the answer is a word strip sticker, right? It looked like there was just kind of too much space there. And so we put a word strip sticker and it looks good. All right, now we move down to this area. We have Hello July. There are some die cuts that you will see that are consistent throughout every quarter of a season pass for the entire year. And this is one of those. So you have one of these for every month. So for summer fall that we're working with right now, you have one that says Hello July, you have one that says Hello August, and one that says Hello September. Others that are similar. Again, this guy, you'll have something like this for every one of the 12 months. So if you are working on some kind of project and you want some consistency from month to month, maybe you're working on a calendar or scrapbook or something like that, then for every month, you have things like this that are consistent. Consistent designs, different colors, right? Different colors, different patterns. That's another one that you'll have. And then this guy too. But for this, we are using Hello July. And we will that is not pop dotted. That is going to go right there. And then we have another red star. That red star I did pop dot. And this guy will go kind of right there. And then we have a yummy, I don't know, this reminds me of Chick-fil-A. Their lemonade. Have you ever had, it's been forever since I've had their lemonade. They have a sugar-free one that, oh, it's so tart. It's just yummy. I love it. I need to go have one of those. Maybe tomorrow. This guy, I just put a little foam square right there, and it's going to tuck right in that little corner. We want to make sure it doesn't run into our fun. We want to make sure we can still have fun. We don't want to cover up the fun. And then we have that little watermelon slice, and that has a foam square right here along the left edge, the back of the left. And that's just going to go kind of tuck in right there, a little bit over the July and a little bit over our yummy lemonade. All right, now we're ready for this part. And we have our lemons. We also have a, where's that guy? I wonder if I didn't get them all out. Or if I put them in a different one. I'm missing a little half lemon. Hold on, let me see. These are the ones I already used. Yeah, I don't know. It could be, you know, we have a cat, and it could be that in between when I got everything organized, it's entirely possible Reggie came down and, I don't know, did something, swished his tail on it or something. So you have a little half lemon. I am missing my half lemon. So I put my half lemon right there, kind of right above that camera. And then that piece is pop dotted. And it is just kind of the bottom two lemons that are pop dotted. The rest of it is just laying flat. Yeah, Reggie must have come down here because now I can't find that little green star, or little green star, that little blue star either. I'll find it later, I'm certain. All right, so this little guy, and that little stem just kind of goes above. I had it kind of lift above that little pocket just a little bit, or that little tab. All right, so there we go. We have our pockets done. Now what we need to do is, let's just check. When I tug on this, nothing is coming out. All of those pieces are connected, so nothing is coming out. The only thing I really need to do is maybe add a little bit of adhesive right there. And then maybe just a little bit right there so that all of those pieces now are completely connected. So none of those are falling out. And when I'm ready to take them all out, I can, if I'm very careful and I gently kind of pull, I can keep all of those connected like I did on that example for February that I showed you. All right, so we're done with our pockets. Now let's move on to doing our slip covers. Let's do this guy first. All right, we'll do that one first. So our paper is, where? Oh, here it is. All right, when we make our slip covers, let's go back to this little guy for a minute. So after this has happened, and after it's January, and I realized, uh-oh, I've glued this, and now do I have to try to peel the glue off? And I used really sticky glue, how I'm going to get that off. I started thinking, I still want to be able to do this every month, but I need to come up with a way that I can do that that's easily removable. And that's how I came up with this idea of a slipcover. It kind of reminds me of when we were back in elementary school, and you'd go to school for the first day, and your teacher would say, hey, take your textbook home and cover it, and we'll give you extra credit because we need to use this textbook for the next 82 years. So if you cover it with the brown paper sack, it's going to help it last, right? So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're creating a slip cover that will last as long as we need it to, and then we can take it off. So for me, this is the outside of this first slip cover, right? So I need to fold this, but when you fold paper, it is always a good idea to fold it inside out, outside in, inside out, outside in. Okay, this is the outside, but I want to fold it the outside in. The reason I want to do that, when you fold paper, even when you score paper, if you're going to see any breakage in the fibers, it is going to happen on the fold. Oh yeah, yep, Don, we forgot that. Let's do that. We forgot our little pocket. It looked kind of naked, didn't it? It looked a little naked. That's why I always like to put a little stuffer in there. A little something, something in our little side pocket. So that's our 2 by 8 inch piece that we cut. Just do a little bit of outline on there. And then I do want to add just a little bit of adhesive. So I'm going to turn that over and do a little bit right there and a little bit right there. That is so, because it's pretty narrow, that is so it will stay in place until I'm ready to take it out. And then just kind of press down and press down. There we go. Big difference though. Isn't that crazy what a big difference that makes? All the difference in the world. All right, so we're back to this. If you are going to see any breakage in the fibers, you will see it on the fold or on the crease. So right there. So if we fold outside facing in, then we refold so outside is facing out. Any fiber breakage, we're not going to see it here. We're going to see it on the inside. And you can kind of see how that the paper's kind of breaking a little bit. We see it on the inside, so we don't see it on the outside. All right, so we're going to take one of our inserts. if you are using a traveler's notebook, you probably purchased, oh, cute little Reggie is sleeping behind me. And he's curled up in a little ball. I just turned around, looking for one of my inserts. I don't know, like why it wouldn't be on the ground, what I was thinking there. That is, oh, not this one. Here we go. If you're using a traveler's notebook, you probably purchased the season pass kit that has the traveler's notebook inserts included, and it has 2 included because we have product 2, decorate 2 slip covers. So I want you to open that back up. And this is our inside pattern now. Outside is facing down. You will take the spine of your insert and you will put that right in the center. So there's my center fold. Put that in the center and close it and then rotate it. So my spine is right here, closest to me. The opening is up at the top. I want to kind of hold that up and just push that down. I want to push that down into that spine, into that center fold, just so it's kind of nice and tight. And then with my hand, I'm going to just smooth that up. And I'm going to use the edge of my pinky and run it along the edge of that traveler's notebook insert. That is exactly where it needs to be. I've made, when I say hundreds of these, I mean I've made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these over the years, slip covers. And that is by far the easiest, fastest, and most accurate way to do it. So again, push it up, take your finger, go along that edge, rub along that edge. It's creating that natural crease. That's exactly where that needs to be. So you'll lift up on your traveler's notebook insert cover and fold it down. Turn it over and do the exact same thing. So I'm going to lift it up, kind of push it down to make sure it's nice and tight on that center fold. Smooth up, pinky, run right along that edge. Lift that slip cover up, lift the cover, back cover of my insert up, and tuck, lift and tuck. All right. Okay, now the next step, I like to round my right outside corners. The cover Sousa is, it is 8 1/4 by 12. So we cut our paper to 8 1/4 by 12. It was 12 by 12, so we didn't have to trim the width. We just needed to trim the height to 8 1/4 and 8 1/4 because that is the height of our traveler's notebook inserts. I like to round my outside right corners. The reason I do that is that my Lail by Mail traveler's notebook inserts have rounded corners. And if I don't round the corners of my slip cover here, there is nothing underneath them to support it. So if I leave a right angle there over time, that is going to start to bend because there's nothing underneath to support. But if I round, then I don't have to worry about that. So I just round those 2 outside, top and bottom on the right, flip it over to the back side, top and bottom again. Now it's a really good idea if you've been using your traveler's notebook, you've been using your insert already, open it up before you start decorating the cover to make sure that it's not upside down. So for example, if I had slip covered this and I just did this and whatever, it's possible I'm decorating this cover without realizing that it's all upside down. Now, because it's a slip cover, it's not the end of the world. You could just slide it off and, fix it, but you might as well, from the get-go. Leah said, I accidentally did my stripes vertical. Leah, you just did them different, right? You didn't do them wrong. You just did them different. You wanted vertical stripes. You didn't even know it, right? You know what they say? If you're wearing stripes, they say you should always wear vertical stripes and not horizontal stripes because horizontal stripes make you look wider. So maybe you're doing your traveler's notebook insert a favor by making it look more slender by having vertical stripes instead of horizontal. That's what I think you meant to do, right? Right. So Leah said she would have rather had horizontal. You were paying more attention to the lemons. Yeah. You know what? It's kind of like what we talked about before and kind of like what Carrie shared with us about her mom, Kathy, that her mom, Kathy, had been doing creative listing with us for a couple of years before she passed away. And she probably had a situation where she made her stripes, vertical instead of horizontal and was like, shoot, I don't like that. I really wanted horizontal. But in the grand scheme of things, her family is just so happy to have that little part of her. So we just look at it and go, oh, well, oh, well. All right. So now to decorate this, we are going back to one of our 3x4 cards. This one, so cute, right? Again, I got to go to Chick-fil-A tomorrow. I really need to go to Chick-fil-A tomorrow. I'll be at the warehouse tomorrow. There's a Chick-fil-A not too far. I will go and get myself a nice sugar-free cold lemonade. All right. So before we adhere this, there we go. Ms. L said, I go rogue all the time, rarely on purpose. You took a creative liberty, right? Didn't do it wrong. You just did it different. Okay, so this was, I thought we're going to do some fun things with some lemons here. More lemons, because we want it to have a little bit of dimension on it. But I felt like this area right here to me was calling out for something. And so what it called out for me was a rub-on. All right, so this year, your all season passes, the kits include a package of rub-ons. The rub-ons are also available a la carte. Okay. I wasn't sure. I'm like, oh, look, did I do a rub-on? I didn't. I just don't know where the die cut is. So you have 2 6x8 sheets in your rub-on pack. And the rub-ons in Season Pass are always like this. There is a color sheet and there is a black sheet. For me, the black sheet, they're both amazing, but the black sheet is so versatile because you could use this for anything, anywhere, right? If you're working with somebody else's summer stuff and maybe there's totally different colors that maybe these colors wouldn't match, but all of this certainly would match, right? Because it's black. So, like we talked about with the packaging on the die cuts, very something similar is happening with the rub-ons. On all the rub-ons, there's always kind of a long divider rub-on, and that is dividing July, August, and September. Now, those don't have to be used. You can't, it's nothing that says you can't use July stuff in August or August stuff in July, or maybe even one of those in September. That's just visually created that way. So if you are trying to figure out what goes with what month, then it's really easy for you to figure that out there. But in this case, I'm going to use this little piece that says chilling out. If you haven't worked with rub-ons before, if it's been a really long time since you worked with rub-ons, I just want to talk about a couple of things. When you take your rub-ons out of the package, there are actually 4 sheets, right? You have your 2 rub-on sheets, and then you also have behind each rub-on sheet this little protector, right? That little protector, it's almost like a piece of sticker paper, right? You know, your sticker wouldn't stick to this, right? It releases easily from sticker paper, so that's kind of like what that is. And it helps to make sure that your rub-on doesn't accidentally rub onto something that you don't want it to. So each of your rub-on sheets has a little friend, and it's important that those friends stay together so that your rub-ons don't go rogue. What I do as soon as I open a package of rub-ons is I get my little stapler out and I staple the sheets together. So I staple the rub-on sheet with its friend, and I staple the rub-on sheet with its friend. That has saved me so many times from accidentally, my rub-on sheet ends up over here and ends up one of the rub-ons partially rubbing off on my project or something like that. So get in the habit of stapling. Next up, once you identify the rub-on that you want to work with, I cut it away from the sheet. It's way easier just to work with a single rub-on as opposed to trying to work with all of the rub-ons, right? So you want one to adhere, but you don't want the rest of them to adhere. So much easier in my book to do that. So now I have safety here because they're still connected, and I have that guy. So I'm going to move those pieces over, bring this guy back in, and I want to keep them connected until I'm really ready, because I might be like, oh shoot, I need to go to the bathroom. I want to set that down, but it's still got his protector friend on the back of it, right? I don't want to remove that until I am ready to do it. So I will separate that. Your rub-ons come with a very fancy, very expensive rub-on applicator that looks very similar to a popsicle stick, right? You just need some kind of blunt object, and popsicle sticks are generally what rub-ons come with. So I'm going to take that, and I think I'd like it to go right about there. That looks like a pretty good spot. So it's just kind of filling in that space. Once you set it down, you are committed. You are in a committed relationship with that rub-on. Do not try to move it. Your rub-ons, you'll notice I'm also holding on to this. That's another important part. But your rub-ons, if you go to the back of one of those sheets and kind of put your finger on it, a little sticky, right? So it's sticky, so it will help it to stay in place while you're rubbing it on. It's sticky enough that if you put it somewhere and you try to move it, chances are part of that rub on is going to adhere, and you can't really get it off. You can't pick it off. It's not like a sticker. You just can't get it off. So decide where you want it to go, put it down. You're in a committed relationship. If it's a little wonky, then your relationship's a little wonky, and it is what it is. You also want to always be holding on. So Denise, let me talk about that in a second. Denise asked a great question. I will come back and answer in a minute. So you always want to hold on, because if your rub-on moves, part of your rub-on is adhered and then part of it moved. It almost would be like you had a sticker and you put half of it down and you cut it and then moved it over a little tiny bit, right? That's what would happen if your rub-on moves. So you don't want your rub-on to move. So always hold on. And rub-ons work by applying pressure. The black ones are really easy to tell when they have rubbed on, because they start out really black. And then when it has rubbed on, it kind of gets opaque. It kind of gets a little grayish because it has lifted off of that little release sticker, that little release paper, and it has moved itself onto whatever you're rubbing onto. Now, my fingers were over here before. You notice how I was still holding on and I rotated. I don't want to let go. It's kind of like the opposite of Elsa from Frozen. You want to hold on. You don't want to let go. Okay, so there we go. And I think, hey, that probably looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and lift it back up. And I say, oh, no, don't do that. Because what if it's not all already adhered? And if you lift it up and it's not already adhered, then you're going to try to put it down. It's almost like stamping and then trying to stamp over it again because part of your stamp didn't go. Instead of lifting it up, grab your little tweezers and just start to peel it up. Peel it up, peel it up. If at any point any of that had not rubbed on, I'm fine because I'm still holding on. I would lay that back down, grab my popsicle stick, go back to wherever it was not rubbed on, and then do that same thing again. Lift up, and that all looks really good. Uh-oh, look what I did. I didn't do that on purpose. It didn't look really good. Do you see right there? There's that little bit that's still left on there. So that's actually probably not too hard to get right in place because it's just one little line. I'm going to try to fix it. It won't be perfect, but it'll be pretty darn close. No one's gonna know. They're gonna know. No one's gonna know. It'll be our little secret. There we go. And I got a little, oh, well, it's gonna stay there. I got a little Reggie hair in there. But guess what happens? If there's a little hair in there and I try to lift that hair off, it's going to make a crack in my rub-on. So I'm just gonna leave it there. There's a nice little part of Reggie now in my project, right? Let's see. Oh, I love that. Carrie said, I always channel the Titanic. Don't let go, Jack. Don't let go. All right. So Denise asked, is there a way to get a rub-on off the paper? Back in the day, there used to be, and I've tried this. Rub-ons have changed quite a bit. They're much, much better than they used to be way back in the day, like 15 years ago. The manufacturer that I use for my rub-ons is amazing, and they rub on very well. It used to be back in the day that if you had a rub-on in a place you didn't want it, that you could go take a piece of Scotch tape. And I would always use a Scotch tape that was kind of opaque, so kind of cloudy, and you could put it down and then very gently lift up, and you had to be gentle because you didn't want to peel off any part of the paper. You could very gently lift up, and sometimes it would lift that rub-on. I've tried it with my rub-ons. I have had no success with that. Now, that doesn't mean that it wouldn't work, but that's the only trick that I know for getting a rub-on off when it's already down, and it does not appear to work with these. So in that case, either you live with it or you put something else over it. Find a die cut, get out your stamp on a little piece of cardstock, put it over that. You really can't even pick it off. You'll just end up making a giant mess. All right, so now our little chilling out card is going to get adhered. And it went about right there. Now there is a little tab, this little tab. I'm going to take that little tab die cut and just slide it right under the top of that. And as I slide it, I want to make sure that I can still see that top row of squiggles on there, because those little squiggles are sure cute. I don't want to cover those up. There we go. And then it looks like something is missing. Word strip. So the word strip that I used there is the one that says such good times. Now, where I wish I could take the camera off and show you guys the cat. He's so cute behind me. He's got his little like arm over his eyes, like I'm bugging him, like the light's bugging him. All right, it is white, such good times. Oh, here it is. So second row, 2 in from the right. And you may have noticed I use my tweezers also for placing these. I don't know about you, but it's especially hard on something like this. When you are using your fingers, you can't really see where the edge of the white ends. So if you use tweezers, just a little bit easier to place. And that looks like it was meant to go there. All right, now it's cute, but it's still kind of plain. And we really like the lemons, and I didn't use the lemons because I used the green striped side of the paper, but we can make some more lemons for ourselves. We have this piece left. We are going to do some fussy cutting. All right, so fussy cutting, if you're not familiar with that term, fussy cutting is when you cut something out of something larger. And I am looking for a full lemon. That looks like a pretty good full lemon. So all I'm doing right here is I'm not getting in there really fussy, right? I'm just cutting this away from the sheet right now. And then I'll come back in and fuss it up in a minute. Okay, so that can be that lemon. And then I need another lemon. And I'd like a lemon that is whole. Probably that guy, right? And I'll do the same thing here. Come in with my scissors, my smallest scissors, all right? So I have those two pieces. When it comes to fussy cutting, you want to use the smallest pair of scissors you have. And if it's like your stamping block, if the largest pair of scissors you have has a 12-inch blade, then you know what? That's what you get, and that's what you use. But for me, even there, much easier using smaller scissors. But those aren't the smallest scissors I have. When it comes to fussy cutting, I use my fussy cutting scissors. When you look at these two scissors side by side, you're like, whoa, hang on. Like, how am I supposed to use these? There's nowhere to put my fingers. Exactly. Way easier with these scissors to fussy cut than these, especially if you have arthritis in your hands. This is difficult. You know, I don't need to tell you that. You've got to work a lot in order to get that blade to open. That blade is really long. Here, there's nowhere to put your fingers. Your fingers are not really coming into play at all. On the scissors, they're going to lay in the palm of your hand, right like that. There's little ridges right here for your thumb. On the back side, there's little ridges for your finger, your pointer finger. So they sit right here. And you, very tiny movements. Look at, I am barely moving my fingers and those blades are cutting. That is a much more concentrated cutting blade there than your larger scissors. Much easier to control, much easier to control. The fussy cutting scissors are spring loaded. So they're doing all of that work for you as opposed to here, manual, right? So I pull out my fussy cutting scissors and I am just going to cut around these little lemons. And you'll notice as I'm cutting, my left hand is really doing all the work. It is moving my piece. My right hand really isn't moving, right? It is pretty much staying still. And you see my little, I'm trying to do this so you can see. My fingers are barely moving. That gives you so much control when it comes to cutting small things. That's the kind of thing that the right tool to do the job makes all the difference in the world. Now, when it comes to something like this, I am not going to get really crazy because parts of your leaves and your stem get really narrow. And I like to fussy cut, but not like that. So I'm not getting, you'll notice I'm leaving kind of a little bit of a white border around everything. This, if you had that lemon piece of paper and you wanted a whole bunch of lemons, I don't know, we'd have to count. You could end up with a lot of lemons. And basically you're making your own little die cuts this way, right? that is like maximizing your dollar, because you could get a heck of a lot of lemons for one piece of paper. Like that. And then I'm not bothering with that little white in the center. I mean, that might bother you, but I'm like, nah. I like to fussy cut, but I don't like to stupid fussy cut. Yeah. You do what you like. All right. So now this guy, our kind of whole lemon, is going to go down flat. Get a little adhesive behind him. And that one goes right there. Just kind of covers up part of what we've got going on in there a little bit. And then this one is going to get pop dotted. Now, part of him getting pop dotted is going to give us extra dimension, but part of it is covering up that kind of errant leaf that's just hanging right there, which looked fine when it was on a sheet like this, but there it's like, what is that? Is that like, is the leaf wrapped around it, giving it a hug? This guy's pop dotted, so let's grab our little foam squares here. Move the paper, not the scissors. Exactly. Exactly. And that, whether or not you're using fussy cutting scissors, that is really helpful when you're fussy cutting. Move the paper, not the scissors. Paper's a lot easier to maneuver than a pair of scissors, especially if you have a pair of scissors with a large blade. Okay, so this little guy will just kind of go right up here, just giving us a little cute layer. And then looks like something's missing, right? It's just a big old blob. You can't even really tell. It looks like one big old blob, like a big old misshapen lemon. But if we add something to it, it will help break it up. So I grabbed the one that says winding down. Now it's possible that your rub-on and your word strip sticker, they're not all like this. Mine has a little bit of blue from the stickers below. So I am just going to snip that little part off right there. The dies are so precise that sometimes when they're die cutting them, if it moves just a titch, it moved just a titch and made its way down. So this guy I am putting right there. And the reason why I picked that one, not so much what it said, but it was the length, because I could have it cover up most of the lemon, but it's hanging off the edge here. And that's what helps you see that there are two different lemons there. Now, if you like to ink, if you are a person that inks your things and you like to bring in your grays or bring in your browns or something, if you inked that would really pop, but I didn't do that. All right, so that is our first insert. And that one is going right, oops, into our cover. Slides right through the elastics, and that is the beauty of Traveler's Notebook. You have 4 elastics in my Lail by Mail Traveler's Notebooks. Most have 4. Most Traveler's Notebooks, I mean not all of them, but quite a few of them have 4, which means I can have up to 4 inserts in my Traveler's Notebook. So then you end up with this kind of revolving notebook system, because one of your notebooks can be full and the other ones can be partial, and you just kind of, when one's full, you move it out, move new ones in, and so forth. All right, so now we have our other one to do. This one will, let's grab this. Oh, yeah, we need to make it first, Lail. All right, so here we go. For my second insert, am using one of our monthly calendar inserts. So this one is undated. I come in and date like this. Every month I start out by dating mine. So I've added all the numbers and started adding some of my, things that are happening in the month of July, because I like to have a calendar. So for me, this is my outside. So I want to fold outside facing in again. Now you guys are pros at this because you know exactly what to do. Outside facing in. Open it back up. Any fiber breakage is now occurring on the inside. Take my insert, take the spine of my insert, line that up right with the center, and rotate it. Again, this is a good time to make sure that it's not upside down. I know that's not upside down, so here is my front cover. Push it down, get it nice and tight, kind of flatten that out. Then in comes my little pinky, and it does the job. It's just right there along that edge. Lift that up, lift that up, lift and tuck. Same thing on the back side. Push it down in so it's nice and tight on that fold, or on in the spine and the center fold. And then grab your little pinky, a tool that you hopefully always have with you, and fold. We will grab our corner rounder. Again, we're rounding the outer corners on the front and the back. Outer corners, the right edge, I guess, along the front and the back. And there we go. Now, even though you can kind of see, but kind of not, I am going to outline this front cover. I don't think I did it on that one. On this one, you notice how I opened it up. This insert with the calendar, the more full and more full it gets. This can be a little tricky to try to do my outline right here. If I do that, 9 times out of 10, it goes right off to the side. So if I open it up, it makes it a little bit easier to get that straight. My arm stays flat. And again, I'm moving the paper, right? Move the paper, kind of like with our scissors. Move the paper. All right. Now, for this guy, I am using the Good Vibes Only card. Good vibes only. Summertime, good vibes only. No bad vibes. Doing my little outlining. And actually, I should show you. Well, you can see part of it. But when you have that card, on there, and it's not outlined, to me, it just looks like it needs something because it's just kind of floating into no man's land. Once you outline it, I don't know, to me, it just makes it pop. I outline everything. I've been doing that for probably 20 some odd years. It's to the point where if I don't do it, it's like, what's wrong? Something's wrong. It's like today when I was getting ready, I put all my makeup on earlier this morning, except I forgot to do my eye makeup. And my eyelashes are literally white. Like you cannot tell that if I don't have mascara on, it looks like I have no eyes. And I'm looking in the mirror, I'm like, why do I look so washed out? Like, what's going on? I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to put eye makeup on. So it's kind of like this. To me, if I don't outline, it looks like I forgot my mascara. All right, eventually we're going to adhere this, but I'm going to do a little bit more stamping because look, there's this open area here. And that is prime stamping space. So what I am doing, I'm going back to my stamps and I am pulling the stamp that says July. All 4 stamps across all 4 seasons past have 3 months. So winter, spring had January, February, March. Spring, summer had April, May, June. Summer, fall, July, August, September, and so forth. So I'm going to grab the July definition and put that down on my work surface so I can get it straight. It's much easier to get your stamp straight on your work surface than it is on the stamping block. Or if you can't quite get it straight on your work surface, on the work surface, then get it straight with your stamping block. All right, so I'm just looking for a right sizer. This for me is probably going to be the best size. And then pick it up. And for this one, I used Mowed Lawn. So let's grab our little scratch paper here again. Ink that up and just test it, right? Especially with a stamp like this. When you're testing for a couple things. You're testing to make sure the stamp is clean. You're testing to make sure it doesn't have a little lint or dirt or cat hair or person hair or whatever it is on it. But you're also testing to get a feel for how much pressure you need to apply. On a stamp like this, that's pretty detailed, you don't need to apply a lot of pressure. And I know that because I've worked with them, right? But you may not know that. So you might be like, ooh, I better make sure to press really hard. I find that when people first start stamping, they think they need to press much harder than they need to. And this is a great place to test, right? Because if you press too hard or you don't press hard enough, I'd much rather figure that out here as opposed to on my project. So I've inked that up again, and I'm going to grossly over exaggerate something for you here. Like I'm going to press so hard. And it's not too bad, but do you see how it gets kind of blurry there? Play with it, right? Just play. Ink it up. See what happens if your stamping block is too big and it's a little bit hard to handle. You could try a stamping block that's too small. I don't recommend that, but you could try. Also try to rock your stamp. When you rock it like back and forth like that, you're applying undue pressure along the top and the bottom, and it tends to blur again, but just the top and the bottom. And then it looks really odd because you blurred the top and the bottom and not the rest of it. And that little guy is just going to go right there. Cute. July, family vacations where memories are made and patience is thoroughly tested, right? If you guys like, this is a little hint I give you. I won't show it yet. We're not ready to show them yet. But one of the new Traveler's Notebook covers, if you like the idea of definitions for months, you might see a different variation of this on one of the Traveler's Notebook covers that's coming out. Bye, Heather. I probably missed her. Okay, done with that guy. Now, at least for now, right? I'll use him again, but okay. So now we are going to adhere this because we need to adhere it for our next step. You guys, this, if you're just doing this for the first time and you're thinking, oh my goodness, like this is what time is it? We've been doing it for an hour and 45 minutes. You're like, I don't have time every month to spend this much time on something so simple. I will tell you, if I'm not teaching this, it takes me about a half an hour to do. And that's with me having no ideas or anything. I get the product, I'm like, oh, okay, and I'm done in a half an hour. So it's just taking much longer because we're talking about what season pass is, and hey, this is what you can do with the things when you're done, and oh hey, this is why you slip cover, and oh hey, this is how you use rub-ons again in case you forgot, and oh hey, we need to prime our stamps. And so it's a lot of instruction. If it was just me working, we'd be done in a half an hour, no problem. And oh my gosh, Lael, I'm like, that's a jelly roll pen. That is not a glue pen. Oh, that's funny. I need to get rid of that. I probably did that a couple times, not even realizing that. Ding-a-ling. Yes. Glue pen, I always recommend you have a glue pen in your arsenal of products because little die cuts like this, it's just hard. I mean, you can definitely use your tape runner or whatever adhesive that you use. It just makes life so much easier if you are, you have something a little bit smaller. And this guy is just kind of going in a little loop right here. What I paid attention to when I was doing it, I didn't want a little gap right there. All right, so however I'm placing that, I don't want a gap in between the bottom of that card and the little banner. That would just, it would bug me. I mean, it's fine. Now we have our little sun die cut. And that one, we are going to, where'd my, oh, there. That one we are going to pop because that sun needs to be popped, don't you think? I think it does. It's like popping tags. We're popping suns. Popping sun. All right. This little guy will go right about there, just kind of going in the corner. But popping it helps make it stand out against that really busy, beautiful, but busy floral background. And then I'm taking one of the blue stickers that says 4th of July. And that goes here. And it also just kind of hangs off the edge. All right. So that is our second insert. And that insert I would put through my other elastic. And then I'm ready to go. I have my Traveler's Notebook all set for the month of July before the month is over. Now, what I always do at the end, I then take what I have left over and I decorate my calendar. Calendar is not part of Season Pass. That's something that you can pick up on its own, but I am going to do that now. It's going to kind of take a look at what I have left and see what I might want to do. So I'm coming into July. And I have to start out this way, you know I have to start out this way. I need to outline it. Excuse me. What's so funny about some of our themed inserts is that as part of the artwork, I outlined it. So I was designing a class. Oh, Carrie's going to be there. The class I'm teaching for three craft chicks at that event at the end of July and into August. I was designing earlier today with the travel insert, and this is kind of funny. I'll just show you. I don't have it here with me, but I will show you. When I say that the art is already, like, I outlined the art for you. So if you like the look of the outline, then you get it. If you don't like the look of the outline, oh well, you still get it. That's kind of my signature. Oh, it's getting warm now. It is getting warm now. Denise said sold. Anything that has anything calendar related, I'm there. And it's fun because then now it becomes kind of a little, oh my gosh, what's the word I'm trying to say? Oh, like a little time capsule. What has happened here? The more that I add, the more the strain starts to happen on the staples. And so I have popped out of one of my staples there. That's why that kind of moved a little bit. If you're like, wait a minute, why did that do that? All right, so let's see. I have lots of fun die cuts left, right? Lots of fun die cuts. Let's see what we'd like to do. This guy could go right here. Sometimes, depending on where the month is falling, you end up with either empty squares at the end of the month, or you end up with empty squares at the beginning of the month. So even though I don't have empty squares here, well, I have one, I still have enough room. I think I'm going to pop that little guy right there. What the heck did I do with my, oh, here it is, over here. You just booked your hotel. I know it's going to be here before we know it, isn't it? It's going to be here before we know it. That little guy will go there. And I think I need to focus on the 4th of July. That's kind of a, for July, that's kind of, for those of us that live in the U.S., it's kind of a big deal. And we all have the 4th of July. We all have July 4th on our calendar, but 4th of July in the U.S. is a little bit of a different thing, right? For us, Independence Day. So I think what I will do, I am going to take my little stars, my star stamps, and will they fit on this guy? Let's see, will they fit? They will fit. All right, let's get some red. I've been playing with candied apple. Candied apple seems to be, if you use Distress inks, candied apple seems to be the red that is very similar to the red in the collection. But you use whatever red you want. Oh, they're so cute. Aren't those fun? So I think we'll do a little bit, maybe a little bit here. And then I am going to do that again, but I'm going to rotate it and I'm going to do it right here. Then I'm going to clean that off, and I think I'll do blue in the center. All right. And we want to dry it off. Remember, we want to dry it off in between because we are re-inking right away. We don't want any moisture on that stamp. We don't want that moisture, the ink, to react to the water. There's the blue. And then I think we'll do these guys right there in the center. There's kind of our nice little 4th of July, 4th, right? Maybe we do this guy here too. Maybe we put that little fun in there. 4th of July fun. And then I'll show you something. When we talk about how a stamp can be really versatile and it can totally change by just what color you use. I mean, right there, just switching it between red and blue, right? But what happens when I do what happens when I do this? Green and red. Now it's Christmas, right? My green and red is now Christmas. So I've got 4th of July stars. I have Christmas stars. And if I change it up again and go to orange and black, right? It totally takes on a different look. Three in one, just by changing up the color. Christy said, I love all the small grouping of stamps on these stamp sets. Sometimes I get way carried away with stamping those little things. Well, that's why they're there, because I'm like, hey, it's fun to have little stamps that you can create clusters of, right? And here's the other thing. If you have a larger area, you can, well, it's kind of like what we did with our flowers, right? We can make a larger grouping of stars, even though we only have, it's just kind of a small cluster. If we just start rotating things, we just built ourselves a nice larger cluster of stars. And I actually ended up making a circle, right? What's fun when we do something like that and kind of create a background, we can do something like, let's do this one that says chill vibes. So if I come in with now my rub-ons, you absolutely can put rub-ons on top of ink. You just want to make sure the ink's dry, and your Distress Oxide is a pigment-based ink. It takes a second to dry, so it's a good idea to wait a bit, make sure it's totally dry, because you don't want to make a giant mess if your ink is still a little bit wet. Let's turn this way. But it takes on your rub-on takes on a totally different look if you put a rub-on over it. And then your stamp takes on your rub-on takes on a totally different look if you rub it on over a stamp. That's what I'm trying to say. And your stamp takes on a totally different look if you put a rub-on with it. Where's my tweezers? Because you know what'll happen if I just say, oh, it's fine, it'll move. It won't have come off all the way. Yep, like that little S, that tip of the S didn't come off. Nope, still didn't come off. It's okay. All right, so totally different look. And while we're playing, here's something else you can do. Let me just take that and let's take something pretty light, like sponge sugar. I can just create a little bit of color on something. See that little bit of color? And then I could take another one of my little guys here. Let's do this one, maybe this one right here that says relax and unwind. Oh, actually, I don't want to use that one because I want to use it. I'm going to use it in a minute. Let's do this. There's too many fun ones to use. Let's do, how about this one? My heart is so happy. We'll be able to see the color quite a bit with that. If you are new to rub-ons, or it's been a hot minute since you've used rub-ons, and you are on Instagram, go to Lael Konkar, go to my Instagram page. And last week we did a reel with kind of a little video with 5 different ways to use rub-ons. So there's some really good examples there. That's one of the easiest ways. Just put a little ink down first and then put your rub-on right on top of that. It's super subtle. All right, let's see what we're looking like. Ooh, okay. So that one, on top of that ink, I really need to, it's probably not dry enough. And it's also in a much more concentrated space than the stars were. But that's also why we checked first, right? So let's see if we are... see what we've got going here now. There we go. So I didn't do anything wrong. I just had not rubbed hard enough. And there's a couple spots here that didn't rub on. And it's not the rub-ons, it's just that I'm trying to do that on top of the ink. So sometimes just be patient. Probably, if I was going to do this again, I would maybe keep working and then really let that dry. There we go. Oops, I just lost the end of it. But kind of just a fun way to add a little bit of color to your rub-ons. Okay, so now let's go back to this. And I think we should pull out now some of the colored ones. We might as well get some fun stuff in here. Let's do, let me grab this guy. This big long border. But as I did grab that big long border, guess what happened? Our friends have become separated. So, good idea. Grab out your little stapler again and just staple somewhere, right? Because I don't really have a lot of room to staple at the top. I'll staple right there. Then nothing's going to happen to that. All right, let's take a look at this guy. So your little long borders like this, you could use them as a single piece, or you could do this. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to trim this about in thirds. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 26, 27, 28. So pretty much every 9. 9 times 3 is 27, so that should work for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'll just have this cute little scallop right below each of these little lines here. Oops. Okay, that is not centered. I should have placed it with my tweezers. I would have been able to see much better. Okay. So sometimes with those long strips like that, I will keep them in one long piece. Sometimes I'll cut them up. You could make a really cute little square with those if you just cut them into 4 pieces instead of 3. Okay. We do the same thing again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12 ladybugs came to the ladybug picnic. Remember that? Sesame Street, way back in the day. I always joke, that's why I can't remember what the heck. I can't remember what I'm supposed to do. I can't remember why I walked downstairs, because the lyrics of every single Sesame Street song are stuck in my head. Wouldn't it be nice if we could decide what stays in our head and what doesn't? Like that time when you were a sophomore in high school and you really liked the guy and he said something to you and you said something really stupid and then it just ran through your head for the next 8 years. You're like, I would like to delete that one, please. Okay. You'll notice right after I rub it on, I rub my finger over it. That way I'm just making sure it's all, nice and stuck down. You could also, some people will take that little piece and then rub it over it. Your finger's always there. That's easy. And you guys, they're pretty awesome. The rub-ons are really awesome. They're like butter. Like butter. All right, so now it's looking, it's looking pretty red, white, and blue, isn't it? I think we need to work in some more color. So let's look at, how about this Hooray? Hooray is really colorful. It's got a lot of good mixture of color there, so let's cut that one out. hooray can go right. Oh, how about here? We have this empty space right here. Or maybe I'll put it here because guess what? We are going on a long trip in our RV. Oh, I told you guys about that. So let's think about this. I don't want to have half the word on one side and half the word on the other side. I mean, I can, but it just is not ideal. Let me do this. If I'm going to do that, I really should separate it. So let's try that. Let's separate it. Let's try to turn this over, right? Because I already let it go, or let its friend go. Let's turn this over, and let's put the H right here. And then we'll have the hooray, hooray. Way easier to separate that first, as opposed to try to do that all in one fell swoop. That's, I don't want to do that. Wouldn't be prudent. And then hooray can go there. The reason I did that was because it was going to run into those words that I already wrote, and I don't want it running into those words. So just cut it, all right? Well, we've cut 2 of our rub-ons so far. Nothing says that you can't have to, nothing says you have to keep them together. Sometimes we'll do this with a sticker. If you have kind of a larger sticker, or maybe like that flower die cut that we used in decorating the pockets. If you have something large like that that seems way too large for an area that you're working in, cut it and have half be on one side of the page, or half on one page and half on the other. And it meets in the middle. There. Okay. I feel like this area right here, to me, that's screaming for some nice, yummy ice cream and popsicles, and maybe that guy too. Yeah. Okay. At this point, it's just play, right? I haven't pre-designed anything. I just start playing with whatever I have left. I know this about Denise, and oh, hello, mister. Excuse us. Yeah, go get in your bucket. Please get in your bucket. Oh, good. All right, excuse that. Denise, I used to carry them. I used to carry those navy staplers, but we haven't had them for a while. I had to carry them when I saw them. You know why? Because those are my brand colors. Between the pink and those are that's my brand, right? All right, what else do we want to do here? I don't know. I was saying something before we were so rudely interrupted by the cat, right? Before we were so rudely interrupted. There's going to be some relaxing going on in here. Also some working. Well, lots of working. This is going to be, we did this once. Well, we did a working trip in our RV where we were both working from the road. We went to Montana in the fall one year, and it worked out pretty well. All right, so let's see. Okay, look at this. Now this is interesting. This is not, this is not by design. This box is like, it fits perfectly around one of these boxes. So I just need to decide where I want it. What do I want to frame? Do I want to frame the Post Malone concert? I would, but that's going to be hard because it's too much onto the other, it's running too much onto the other page. How about we put it there? The August Traveler's Notebook setup. So that's kind of fun that worked out like that. Or it could go there. I'm trying, maybe it goes here. There we go. I feel like it needs a place where it's not all jumbled together. So that's kind of fun. That little guy framing something important on your calendar. And I am okay with the fact that I covered up the 15th and 16th because we all know 14 and 17, between 14 and 17 becomes the 15th and 16th. So I'm not worried about that. Now, sometimes it's fun, speaking of covering things up, let's grab these little die cuts because these are small enough that we could like put some little cute die cuts over some of our numbers to decorate a little bit more like that. And We have a couple of flowers. So July is very much by design, not super, it is not super like 4th of July colors because, I mean, first of all, it's only one day in the month. Come on. But well, I shouldn't say that. It's kind of a big day, right? But in our country's history. But it is, well, let's put that little guy there. That'll be cute. Top of the I, or top of the J. But we don't, everything doesn't have to be red, white, and blue, right? Because it's also summer and it might also be fun to have some summery things in there. We're getting kind of full here, aren't we? I think we're getting to the point where I think these are going to be too big to go anywhere, but these could go somewhere maybe to add a little bit more color. Flip-flops. Maybe they go right there. What I haven't been doing, I haven't, other than the stars, really put any, I haven't really put any stamps on yet, right? Other than the stars. So what if we let's get these guys out because, oh, we could do this. We have a fun little dragonfly. The dragonfly art, actually, the art is part of August, but we don't know that, right? There's nothing that says we can't have that cute little dragonfly somewhere on here. The dragonfly is open as opposed to closed. So if you wanted to stamp him in black, and then you could color, well, you actually don't even need to stamp him in black, but you wanted to color him in with your markers or colored pencils, that could be kind of fun. You could even change his color, right? Maybe we would like to do we could do a blue one. We won't really be able to see the yellow, especially in an outlined version like that. It'd be really hard to see the yellow. So I think we'll stay away from the yellow. We'll use yellow for something else in a minute. Maybe we have one more right here. And again, that totally, your little dragonfly totally, the look totally changes based on what color that you use. I know, dragonfly is super cute, isn't it? Yes, they are my signature colors, Denise. They are my brand colors. Okay, we're getting close, right? We are getting close. And I mean, I still have a ton of, I've got lots of different of these little guys I could use. I've got really cute little tiny stars, that little grouping of words. I have lots I can use. I have purposefully stayed away from any fireworks. You have boom, pop, crackle. You have fireworks there. I'm not using fireworks because the governor of Utah last week outlawed all fireworks for the 4th of July. Now, where we live, we're up kind of in the foothills, up against the mountains. Where we live, they're always outlawed right here because one errant spark and then there's really bad, right? It could catch fire so quickly. But usually kind of in the valley, Salt Lake Valley, fireworks are always there. They're always, always, always there. But not this year because fire danger right now is so bad. We have horrific fires kind of in central Utah right now. Also in kind of southern Colorado. And so, yeah, they're like, nope, no fireworks, sorry. And I feel bad. I feel bad for the people that have like fireworks business that sell fireworks. Like that's not their fault, but yeah. And then some people are like, that's my right. You can't take away my right. And I understand that, right? But however, for the greater good, the whole state of Utah is on fire. So probably maybe, not have fireworks this year, right? Okay, so we could do a few yellow flowers. And then I think we could maybe come in. Let's change the colors on the flowers. That's an easy way we can get more color in there. Denise said fireworks have been banned in San Bernardino County for several years. Yeah, you guys in Southern California know. I mean, holy cow, right? It's so, well, so your Santa Ana winds, and then it's so dry. this time of year anyway, and it's hot. We live in a high mountain desert, so we have I mean, we're like negative humidity right now, which does not help with the fires either at all. So we're going to switch these up, maybe do a few little green ones, and we'll just kind of group them near each other. And then I feel like I'm going to bring in one of the colors that I haven't brought in. This color I matched more for August, but it will work. And it is, what is it? Picked, Peter Piper. It is picked raspberry. Okay, so let's grab that guy. And, oh yeah, it's over on the other side of the room. It's getting photographed with my list from this weekend. Here we go. And I think we'll just bring in a little bit more, right? And that pink color is going to be so bright. Look at that, right by our cute flip-flops. Again, you could have very little. I mean, if you have stamps and really kind of stamps all that you have, you can really, just with ink, take things pretty far, right? You can totally change things up just by taking the same stamp and switching up the ink. All right, friends, I think that is good. This area right here, oh wait, there's one more I need to do. I always like to do this one, right? Let's see where we are. This one. This little checklist. The checklists are really fun because they fit in between these little lines perfectly. Perfectly. Leave that. And we'll put it right here. This month, fireworks, picnics and barbecue, sunny vibes, fresh fruit, and vacay vibes. There's a lot of vibe in there, aren't there? Those little checklists are so fun. So we introduced those cute little checklists with the season pass rub-ons this year. And we just included one in a stamp. I haven't even talked about this yet, the stamp. Oh, I talked about it a little bit on Saturday, I think. I haven't even shown it really yet. I'll show you if you want to see. Because you'll see me use it on Wednesday night quite a bit. Pull this away, make sure all those are good. All right, there's my checklist. So this guy, this brand new stamp set that I snuck in on Friday. It's called National Park Love. So if you like national parks, this one's for you. National Park Love, taking in the view, a rating. I Heart National Parks, love this place. See that little circle? That little circle is designed for your park stamps. You know, when you go in the visitor center and you stamp, that's perfect size for those. But here's our little checkbox. Grabbed the park brochure, stopped by the visitor center, picked up a souvenir, went on a walk or hike, chatted with a ranger. So, kind of that same idea from those, now on a stamp. All right, friends, I think that's good. I do have, hold on. I do have a couple birthdays. I have Scott's birthday on the 29th. And then also Denise's birthday. Denise works for me in the warehouse. Also the 29th. And if you ever have something like this, you're like, birthdays, whatever. Or maybe you don't have any birthdays in your life that month. Put a sticker over it, right? So, like this, maybe notes and ideas. Maybe I have no notes and ideas. Maybe I'd like to do this. Maybe I would like to do vacation mode. Vacation mode, I bet, will fit really well right on top of that. There we go. Now I'm done. All right, let's unplugging, and I'm going to rotate the camera now. Oh, there we go. There we go. See, I did have pants on. You guys saw my pants. You probably even saw my wool socks that I have. My feet were so cold earlier today. It's been so cold. But I have pants on. I didn't you never saw me leave. You never saw me go, wait a minute, and then make a bunch of noise and put pants on. I had pants on. I mean, nothing wrong. If you don't want to wear pants, that's your prerogative. But when Nick was saying I wasn't wearing pants, I'm wearing pants. All right, guys, there we go. So we are all set up. That turned out so cute. Look, isn't that fun? I like to just ad lib like that because there's no plan. I don't plan when I do that, just whatever I have left. Um, yes, so we are now set up for July. August setup is planned for Monday, the 27th of July. It's right there because the next night I'm going to Post Malone. And the next morning, I leave to go to Spokane to teach at an event for that weekend. So put it in your calendar, pencil it in. Monday, July 27th, we will be doing the August Traveler's Notebook setup. All right, you guys? Ms. L, I work from home and wear PJ bottoms with a top. Video ready at all times. Yep. And we saw some of the funniest things happen during the pandemic, right? Where people would have their suit on top and then like board shorts or whatever. Some really funny things. That was fun. All right, my friends. We're good. We are good. That was fun. I always have fun doing our setup. Yeah. So I hope you had fun with the July portion of the Summer Fall Season Pass. If you haven't, hope you did something really fun. If you're in the Lail by Mail Facebook group and did something and you want to post and share in there, I always love to see that. I know everyone else loves to see everyone else's things. So if you want to post something in there, that would be awesome. And if you're like, wait a minute, what? There's a Lail by Mail Facebook group. So you just have to go to Facebook, search for Lail by Mail. There's a Facebook page and a Facebook group. A page you can't post on, a group you can post on. But it is private, so you'll see it and you'll have to ask to be part of it, and then I will let you in. All right, you guys, there we go. If you're, I don't know, are we still watching soccer? I got to go back and start writing instructions. Well, finish writing instructions because those kits have to ship this week for 3 craft checks. So I will maybe have soccer on in the background and write instructions at the same time. But whatever you're doing this evening or whenever you're watching the video, I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening or day or morning or whatever it is. Thanks for joining me tonight, you guys. Bye-bye.